The third thing you need to prepare is the actual production, right? So I'll give you a couple of general production guidelines. This changes based on, every event is a snowflake. They're all different, and that's okay, but here's some kind of like general guidelines. We recommend at least 2 cameras for a broadcast quality or a professional broadcast. Having a couple of camera angles is just going to create that extra kind of dynamic energy that keeps people engaged a lot longer. But 1 camera is also okay if you're doing something simple like a press conference or a webinar or a broadcast from your home studio or like a vlog type stream, something like that. 1 camera is generally okay there. If you're doing 1 camera, that camera is likely to be fixed or static or fixed or static. So it's just going to be 1 shot that's just focused on 1 thing, and that camera never moves. Once you get into 2 cameras, you can have a couple of different shots. Traditionally you'll have your wide shot, which covers all of your action, and then you'll have a follow shot, which is kind of covering your action. So that camera is normally operated by a camera operator, and they're following, and so the camera's point of view is changing throughout the broadcast. And that's good to cover a moving target, someone that's speaking on stage, for example. When you get into 3 cameras, that 3rd shot, that's going to be your hero shot. So it's just another kind of dynamic shot that you can add. And that's going to be important for covering multiple targets, like a roundtable discussion or a panel discussion, something like that. You're going to need at least 3 cameras. I would say 3 cameras is also probably the bare minimum for any sports that you want to cover as well. Once you get into 4 cameras, that 4th camera is really going to be kind of a specialty shot. Maybe it's going to be on a jib or a slider. Maybe it's going to be off-site somewhere. Maybe it's going to be dedicated for instant replay, or you could have multiple sets going on. So that's kind of when you would use a fourth camera. The second thing to consider as you're preparing your production is your graphics package, right? So graphics are used to convey important information to your audience or to transition between broadcast segments. So a typical graphics package will include a lower third, which will have like a name and a title, and it'll be kind of somewhere around this area on the screen. So it'll tell you like who is speaking. We'll also, for us, we normally include animated intros and outros and interstitials, so just kind of short, like 5-second segments to use as transitions or to convey information about like when we're coming back from lunch or what the next presentation is going to be about or something like that. And then if you're doing a PowerPoint presentation or a product demo, we normally have a picture-in-picture template as well, so that way you can see that PowerPoint as well as your camera feed. There have been studies that have shown that having an actual face on screen is actually really important for information to be recalled later. So if you're just giving like a PowerPoint presentation, throw a camera on screen with it and people will just recall that information. You can also include dynamic data as well, so things like Twitter hashtags or RSS tickers, scrolling tickers that kind of come up at the bottom of the screen, polls, other sorts of like changing information. That's great to pull into a live stream, and different companies will have different capabilities there, but it's important to ask about dynamic data that you can pull in, even like Facebook comments, Twitter comments, things like that. That's all great. So after your event is over, it's important to think about your post-engagement strategy. Now, oftentimes, you've produced your live stream, you have 8 hours of content, and it's kind of, a live stream is kind of ephemeral, right? So it exists only during the time that it's being broadcast. But you can actually create a ton of great clips from that, which you can release for months and months later. One thing you definitely want to do, or that we always recommend, is adding captions to your archived recording. So that's pretty simple to do if you're using a company like Temi or Rev or something like that. YouTube and I think Facebook will do automated captions. They're not 100% accurate, but it's a good place to start. But adding captions definitely increases the engagement for your content. You can also create a sizzle reel of your event, which is like a 2-minute package showing just the best moments. it's often a good idea to have a kind of behind the scenes camera operator who's capturing some of the other stuff, maybe collecting interviews throughout the day, something like that. So you can create that 2-minute sizzle reel and then release that in an e-blast after your event. And then you can also just grab, short, like 1-minute highlights from your event and then release those periodically throughout the year. Again, one great stream, if it's high quality, if it's a professional broadcast, you can generate months of content after that.